This beautiful Friday. I said I would go live every day, once or twice a day for 30 days. And I guess you could say I did it. I've been showing up. I think this is like day 26. So by next Tuesday would have been 30 days. And I had a huge idea that in 30 days I would sell 3,000 copies of Heal Your Way Forward. And anything is possible. And I think today's live is gonna be kind of mixed. Um, because I want to talk about showing up in the unknown, showing up in the void. The world feels like a void right now. I've also in the last 30 days, I've done a 21 day no complaint challenge. I think today is 19 or 20. I think the thing that's helping me from complaining is that I wear this bracelet on my wrist. And so once I complain, I switch the bracelet on my other arm. And it has actually been just like a mindful awareness practice. And it's been helping me just really ground into what am I feeling, what's reality and what's not. And in recognizing that a lot of the things that I feel are actually connected to my mental health more than complaining. So it's been really good to do no complaint challenge, as well as a little sober group of friends in the gratitude group. So multiple ways, I'm holding myself accountable for showing up, whether it's practicing gratitude, social media detoxes. Really grateful for the opportunity to show up, and even in the midst of the void and the unknown. So a couple things. Um, is so back in May, can't even think of the name of the platform. That's how over it I am. Back in May, Meta shut down our account Check Your Privilege. And I went to check to see if I need to upload my ID again to find out that it's permanently disabled. We will not get it back. I found that out 2 days ago. And then I was like, okay, cool. And then, just one thing leads to another. It's just pile up after pile up. So taking my own mindful pause. Just a mindful pause. So how you show up when life feels like it's too much, you take lots of mindful pauses and you remind yourself that you've been here before, and you take everything one step at a time. That's it. That's all you can do. It's like being sober, right? When you're sober, you learn to feel your feelings, because that's something that you learn also in therapy. And you learn that there's nothing to control. So part of being sober from substances and in your life is really learning to also be um, in your everyday life, learning how to be sober in your everyday life. So in the unknown, there's nothing to control. You just have to kind of be like, okay. And there are moments where um, it feels really hard. And so you have to really have a lot of courage to stay present, especially when there's no clarity, when it feels foggy, when you want to retreat, when you're tired. I think that's where the real transformation begins. You know, in at Check Your Privilege, we used to call it the co-conspirator's journey. And it was that part where that shame can cripple you and shame can disable you. But I don't know. I don't think that's it either for me. I think when I think about showing up in the unknown, I think about not needing the answers to stay committed, but you just keep showing up um, over and over again. That's all you can really do is just gonna write this down so people know what I'm talking about. Um, you just show up and you have hope that things will work out. Um, so many of us in the world are walking through a lot of uncertainty. Hey, Janine, and you're not alone. So if you are walking through it, hopefully you can take something away from this live. Even when you don't feel clear, or you feel blurry, or you feel shaky, or you're just trying to survive end stage capitalism. Sometimes the healing looks like showing up even if you don't want to. I didn't want to go live today, but I promised myself that I would be committed to my own growth and healing no matter how uncomfortable I am. Um, and so, hey, Lisa, thanks for being here. Hey, Jess, thanks for being here. That's part of the work is you show up when you're uncomfortable, and that is great. One of the things that I'm learning in this season of life, and no, Shifa, I didn't get rid of anything. That was all meta. A lot of people don't know because I stopped talking about it, and I stopped talking about it because um, you get tired of fighting systems, and it takes an army, and I don't have an army, so everything happens for a reason, and we keep going. One of the things that we think about is unknown is part of our growth process, and it's not a detour. So it's kind of like, you're birthing something. If you're a person who's able to have a baby, or if you've been a part of someone's birthing process, that third trimester. 2025 has felt like a third trimester the whole year. 2025 has felt like that third trimester where you're like, I know this baby is coming, but goddamn, this is a long baby. Maybe that's how I can look at 2025 is that year of change. And so if I looked at the year as, hey, Sarah, if I looked at the year 2025 as a birthing portal, uh, this now feels like the third trimester. So if I were to make this trimester by trimester, we had January through March, it was like, yay, wow, a little bit of sickness, got through that little bit of sickness, right? And then you had uh April, what, through June. It was like, okay, whoa, yikes. And then you had the summer. It's just now wrapping up, and the third trimester. So technically, it's the fourth trimester if we want to keep it serious. And it usually, if you've had a child, that means that fourth trimester is that fourth trimester is usually the baby's born 0 to 3 months, right? And that's when the postpartum sets in. So if I were to look at this year as someone who maybe gave birth, is giving birth, and then every quarter of this year represents the birth cycle, then this is the postpartum part. And as someone who's navigated postpartum 3 times with 3 kids, the third time was the most intense time. So the fourth time is just like, okay, you've been here before. You know what you need to do. You know who to, asking for help is part of the process. You know, trying not to shut down completely. It's just the whole thing. And so I think the easiest way to think about what this year has been like for me is to think of it like the birthing process and to can really consider it like the fourth trimester, which is the phase where you can easily move into postpartum and stay there, right? So I want to share a couple things. The first part is the unknown is part of the process. Um, and so growing and being stretched doesn't come with guarantees. Um, Uncertainty is where the transformation begins. And if you're waiting for clarity, you'll stay stuck. And that is the only reason why I went live today. So I can just keep sitting around like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing to do. Oh, what am I? Or I can do something. So I got up to do something. Um, and then you don't need to know everything to begin. You just have to begin. So when life feels like it's all over, you just go. And it's literally like being in your imagination. You literally make it up as you go. Which is interesting because I spent a very long time making things up as I go. Um, and it's just been so much that it's like you can't even access that part of like, okay, what can we do now? Because it can be really easy to get stuck in the cycle of the unknown. So that's when you have to either take a break by like taking a nap or moving your body. And I took a nap. The other thing is that I can't control anything. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned growing up in evangelical patriarchal Christianity, right? It's like they always told you that God was in control, but then they always found a way to control you or control outcomes or control situations. It's just very fascinating growing up Christian and being so glued into it. And so really thinking about how control is something that like we all reach for, and I think we all just learn it in our everyday life. But control is not safety or courageous because many of us have been taught that control is protection, and it's not. Um, and I don't think the goal is control. It's like really trust, self trust. Can I trust myself to let go of outcomes? Can I trust myself to go with the flow? Can I trust myself to trust others to help me? Can I trust myself to show up in a big way? Like, so it's not can I control myself, but can I trust myself? And I hope that's something that you all know is that control is not safety. Um, Learning to trust yourself is, and in liberation, freedom work, whatever you all call it, it requires trust and not control, and trust in yourself, trust in something that is walking with you, and trusting in the unfolding of life. Hi, Jennifer. So it's okay. Like what I'm learning is it's okay to let go of control, um, because I'm not tied to any outcomes or certainty. And I think that's one of the things that can keep all of us kind of stuck a little bit, in that. Um, I think the other thing that if I had a third part, is that like even though times are uncertain, um, you still have meaning. So there's still meaning in your life, even if you feel uncertain. Um, I think sometimes we tie our value to success. I know I have. Um, and the more you tie your value to success, the more uncertain and unsure you feel. Um, and that's why it's important for me to show up just every day, because it shows myself and others that uh, you can show up as a human, with all of yourself, grief, anger, rage, faith, and it's enough. And it's like this other idea that you don't have to be on, right? You don't have to be on. It's hard to be on all the time. I think that's also something that I sit with is um, being on all the freaking time. Like that is, it's not healthy and it's not sustainable. And if you're using substances like I was to be on all the time, you want to be mindful and you want to um, really, really slow down a little bit. So again, when we think about showing up in the unknown, we have to remember the unknown is part of the process, not a detour. Control is not safety. Learning to trust yourself is, and like you still have value, even if it's uncertain. So presence is an act of resistance. So I think one of the things I'm working through in real time every day is this idea of none of us, including myself, we don't have to have it all figured out to be committed to our own journey. Um, we don't have to be 100% sure to be committed. And we are all allowed to rest, pause, cry, pray, doubt, give up for a day. But, there's still belonging. So the work that we do in liberation, it can meet us where we are. And it's not about perfection. I think yesterday I talked about being consistent and not perfect. And so I just wanted to share like the importance of being consistent and being not perfect. And if I were to give like a prompt for you all to think about, I'm going to put it on the screen here. When I talk about the screen, I usually talk about on YouTube, Instagram. So if you watch the replay, that's where you'll see the prompt from the takeaway from today. Um, and that question is where am I being asked to trust without proof? And how can I meet that moment with compassion instead of control? So, where are you being asked to trust your life without proof? And how can you meet it yourself with compassion and not control? And for me, I'm being asked to show up without proof every single day. And how can I meet that moment with compassion instead of control? I do that just like today, checking in with a friend, talking to a friend who saw me cry, and it's like, what's going on? And kind of shut down and then let it all out. Um, how do I meet myself with compassion? Um, I just let myself cry most times because that's one of the most important vulnerable practices you can have is allowing yourself to release control. Um, I think I think there's a mantra next week on releasing control, or that might have already came out on the forward mantras. I'm not sure. I have to look at my sheet. But it's important for us to know that even in the unknown, we can be grounded. Even without answers, there's still guidance. And even when you don't feel like it, when you tremble or you're upset, you can still show up. And so that's all I wanted to share today. Was just this idea around showing up in the unknown and ways that we can consider how to keep showing up. Right now in the government, there's a lot of happening right now. Government is shut down. ICE is raiding apartments in black neighborhoods, arresting black people in the middle of the night. Um, there's a lot, and we actually have the power to ground ourselves in truth and prepare ourselves for more of what's coming by also taking care of ourselves and our nervous systems and each other. I and that's kind of all I have today. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in this live with me. Um, if you've missed the full live, you can watch the replay on our YouTube at Heal Your Way Forward. Um, self trust is something that I talk about when I talk about self reconciliation, um, to reconcile with yourself. So that's some work I'll be doing over the weekend. Um, and I might do a 4-week self reconciliation group class. So just stay tuned for that. I need to check in with my trainer, make sure that I have all the materials to teach on self reconciliation, especially in times like this when you have different belief systems and multiple realities and all types of things. So I just want to tell you again, thanks for being here. You can watch the replay on our YouTube at Heal Your Way Forward. And I'll see you all live tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. So tomorrow's live will more likely be early in the morning. So hopefully I can catch you guys around, usually my mornings are around 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I'll do a Sunday afternoon live, and Monday I'll be on the road. So Monday's live will be in the evening. And then Tuesday will be the final live in the series. And more than likely we'll probably keep going just so I can build the inertia and energy to start over again. It's definitely is the deepest part of the sobriety journey is letting go of control and getting sober in all areas of my life. So if nothing else, it's just another step on the sobriety journey of clearing energy and getting sober in my life and in my relationships. So I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and I'll be live tomorrow morning. Peace.